Veteran Salute is sponsored by the DeVaughn James Injury Lawyers.
A Vietnam veteran says he was inspired by Chaplain Emil Kapaun's service in World War II and the Korean War while he was going to what was Chaplain Kapaun Memorial High School. Gwen Bevel and photojournalist Nick Kiefer have his story.
Bob Fugit started sailing competitively when he was a teenager. He ended up on submarines and says it was quite the experience being on patrol.
This is the Mark 14 steam torpedo.
And Bob Fugit would know. He was just 18 when he got a letter.
The draft notice said, "Greetings, your friends and neighbors have selected you."
Bob Fugit was already signed up.
To me, it was a natural thing to do.
He headed to boot camp as a sailor.
I volunteered for submarines.
Fugit then climbed aboard the Bagheera.
Most memorable is the time spent with the crew.
And that's a good thing, because when serving on a submarine,
You had to decide whether you wanted to sleep on your back or on your stomach when you went into the berth, because you couldn't roll over.
the conning tower, the primarily attack and navigation center, is the smallest on the boat at just 8 feet in diameter and 16 feet long.
It included 2 periscopes, the helm, radar, a navigating station, the torpedo data computer, and some other stuff.
He says the torpedo data computer was key.
You'd load in the range as best you could get.
He says they would then plot the course.
At the end of the run, it would blow that water out and it'd go straight up so you could find the torpedo and reuse it.
The Bagheera first sailed in 1944 and was active in the fleet for decades. He says to qualify to wear these dolphins, you had to know so much about the boat and how to keep it dry.
If you're down very deep, water comes in really, really fast.
Being so far below made it very interesting when it came to doing his job.
It took me longer to get the part than it did to repair it.
He was also aboard the Bonefish.
The Bonefish was actually really designed to stay submerged. It was one of the first teardrop-shaped boats.
Fugit says since World War I, subs have served an important role in warfare. In World War II, U.S. boats sank nearly 1,400 Japanese ships.
It's my understanding that the last time their huge battleship stood out to sea, she had enough fuel to get to Okinawa, but not to get back.
Fugit says it's important to remember those on eternal patrol.
If we want to retain our freedom, then we have to retain our history. We have to know what happened.
Each year, Fugit is part of the tolling of the boats that honors the shipmates who paid the ultimate price here at the Dorado Memorial on the Arkansas River.
That's a pretty expensive piece of machinery.
And one that holds connections to the past. Fugit will always take the opportunity to share.
Come down here and talk to kids about submarines and torpedoes.
Fugit is the commander of the Dorado base of submarine vets and invites all of you to join them in October for the tolling of the boat ceremony. You can find more on that by heading to ksn.com. Here for you, Gwen Bevel, KSN News 3.
The DeVaughn James Injury Lawyers here, and we're very excited to introduce to you our Veteran of the Week, and it's Bob Fugit, who proudly served our country during Vietnam and the Cold War era. On behalf of all of Kansas, Bob, thank you for your service.
You're welcome, and I would like people to remember all the men and women today serving under the sea in the newer submarines.
Veteran Salute is sponsored by the DeVaughn James Injury Lawyers.